What's going on, guys? It's Groove back again with another one from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Rumor has it that most people don't subscribe to pages, let alone new pages, but if you could go ahead and leave a like, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, so here we are once again with another book by Marcus Aurelius. Now, a little backstory before we get into these books. Marcus Aurelius, he was born in 121 AD. That's less than 2,000 years ago. And, a lot of people like to kind of put him in the same bucket as people like Plato and Socrates, but all those guys were like 300, 400, 500 years before he was even born. So he was a co-emperor of Rome in the later half of his life. And Rome was great under his rule. And it's all because he had this philosophical rulership, or this style, this mindset, if you will. As he started to age, he started to just write down. He just journaled, just put his notes down. This is where we get these books. Now, he never intended for these books to be published or read by anybody else. These are just his thoughts. And you can tell when you read these books as well that there's no real structure to them. They're just paragraphs. They're just, he just jot down something and he would go do his business and come back again and just jot something else down. The thing that I love about these is the more you read about history, the more you read these passages, you realize that nothing ever changes in human behavior. Everything stays the same. The only thing that changes is technology. And so there's a lot of lessons we can learn. Some of these passages I'm kind of just going to read out, and then others I'm going to expound more on. Wherever you look, you will find the same thing. Cities, households, families. It doesn't matter if it's ancient, recent, or modern times. Nothing changes, and all is short-lived. Bear in mind that a person's value is measured by the worth of what that person values in life. Is my mind sufficient for the task at hand? If not, call an aid to someone who is better able to accomplish it. Whatever I do, either by myself or with aid, should have this sole focus. So when I read that passage, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but at the same time, it's, whatever task you're doing, whatever work you're trying to accomplish, do it to the best of your abilities and make sure it's good. And if you can't make sure it's good, ask for help. And there's nothing wrong with that. This produces the best work in life, and it stops you from wasting time. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It may take you a long time to stumble through something, and then the product at the end isn't that good, where if you were to just ask for help or ask for aid, you can produce a better product in like half the time or whatever. Do not let the future trouble you. You will come to it possessed with the same reason that you apply now to the present. When I read that passage, it kind of made me think of this chart that I seen, and it was like a little pathway. It was like, do you have a problem? And it was like, no, okay, don't worry. And then the other one was like, do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do anything about it now? No, then don't worry. He's telling you to always live in the future. So stop worrying about, or not always live in the future, but always live in the present. Stop worrying about the future, because if you can't do anything about it, there's no point in stressing over it now. When you get to the problem, we'll figure it out when we get there. But right now, there's no point in stressing over the future. Every material rapidly disappears, and every memory is buried in eternity. He kind of goes over this a lot in every one of these different books, is that life is very short, and that everything over time, again, disappears or is forgotten or is broken down into atoms and is dispersed into the whole. And he always goes back to, again, life is short. Just remember that when you're doing something, so many people feel like they have a lot of time. Oh, I'll do it later. Like, do it now. Life is so short. And before you know, you'll look up and you're going to be in old age and you're like, man, I wish I would have did that at a younger time. Whatever anyone does or says, I must be a good man. This little passage, again, this is super self-explanatory, but again, always keep that in mind. Always be a good person. You're always going to go through struggles. People are always going to try to stab you in the back or snake you, but that shouldn't make you turn into a bad person or an evil person. Always remain good. The directing mind is without needs unless it creates needs for itself. The same way it is untroubled unless it causes troubles for itself. Your mind is powerful. You need to learn how to, again, direct your mind. You need to learn how to control your mind. You don't need anything. You don't need to upgrade your lifestyle. You don't need that new car. You don't need that Gucci belt. If you're always in your head, oh, I have depression, I have anxiety, or I'm worried about the future, or this or that, it's It's all coming from you in your mind. And you need to learn to control this and let it all go. Make sure you're directing your mind and focusing on it. And so you stop letting the outside world get to you. Is someone afraid of change? What can ever come to be without change? Can you take a bath if the wood that heats it does not change? Can you be fed if the food does not change? Can any benefits of life be achieved without change? Change is therefore necessary by the nature of the whole. Again, he's kind of right. Everything changes. And even now, there's a lot of people that are scared of AI. Again, this change is going to mean bad things for them, or that they're not going to be ready for it. But everything changes, and we will continue to go on and survive and overcome these changes. When someone does you wrong, you should consider immediately what judgment of good and evil led them to that decision. When people are mean or when they're angry, instead of you just jumping in your emotions and be like, what the heck, blah, 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 blah. Again, take that judgment. Why are they angry? What's going on in their lives? You don't know what is going on, what kind of family issues they have going on. Their kid may have, just gotten hurt, and so now they're angry, or they may be just lashing out now. And so once you do this, you won't become angry yourself, but you'll start to pity these people. Again, even though they're doing you wrong, you'll be like, what's going on in their lives? Man, I kind of feel sorry for them at the end of the day. It's funny that if you've ever watched Jesse Lee Peterson, like he does this morning show, it's a podcast, and every time he's on the phone with somebody, or that somebody calls in and they're all angry and they're yelling at him, and he's just like, yep, okay. As soon as he hangs up, he always says, man, what a sad way to live. It just goes back to that anger. Don't let these people get to you. Instead, you should feel sorry for them. Like, what a sad way to live. Like, you should feel pity for these people that are always angry and mad and in their emotions. Do not dream of possessions you do not have. Instead, reflect on the great blessings that you do have. But at the same time, you must not let your pleasure in them habituate you to dependency on them. Don't worry about the things you don't have. Be blessed and grateful for the things you do have, but don't be dependent on those things that you do have. Like, be grateful that you may have a house, but don't be dependent on it. Be grateful that you have a nice car, but don't be dependent on it. So many people, they put their worth and their value into the things that they do have. If those things were to be taken away from them, they would lose hope, or, a part of them would die. Again, you shouldn't depend on these things. Be blessed that you are where you are. You have a house, you have a car, hot water, but don't worry about if these things get taken away from you. And there's such a freedom in that as well. I like my house. I like the car that I drive. But, if I had to sell this house, sure, that's fine. If I had to sell my car, that's fine too. Enjoy the things that you have, but never let yourself become dependent on them. It is in the nature of the directing mind to be self-content with acting rightly and calmly in life. Just going through life, and if you just do right by people, there's a calm spirit in that. There's a freeing spirit in that. If you're constantly trying to snake people, if you're constantly trying to get out of work or do bad by people, do bad business, be a bad friend, talking behind people's back, gossiping, that weighs heavy on the soul. But again, if you just direct your mind and just go through life being self-content, being okay with where you're at, understanding your road and where you're going, and, even if you're chasing a goal or something, just doing it to the best of your abilities, whatever you're doing, whatever work you're doing, whatever goal you're trying to chase. If you do right by people, if you do right by the work, there's such a freeing calmness to that you can't get by sitting there saying, oh, I'm going to snake people, or I'm going to cut corners, or I'm going to do that to try and get ahead faster. There's a heavy weight on your spirit from doing it or living life that way, rather than just going through it the right way. Think of your final hour. Leave the wrong done by another where it started. Again, think of your death. Again, because he goes back to life is short. Stop holding grudges. Let them go. You'll feel better. Take your joy in simplicity, integrity, and indifference to all. Love mankind and follow God. On death, either a dispersal of atoms, or if we are a unity, a change in home. He's really into nature. He's really into the whole. He's really into the one. It's crazy that, again, he was thinking like this when he was. Because even now, there's a lot of people doing podcasts talking about the one or the whole, or we're just all one consciousness. Nobody knows where the soul resides. Nobody knows where consciousness resides. But we do know that we are energy. And we do know that energy doesn't die. It just transfers. Whether we come back here or not, obviously we wouldn't remember it. But again, he believes the same thing. It's either we are a part of the whole, we are a part of the one, then it's just a change of home, or we're just atoms. And then those atoms just break down and disperse. Whatever a position a man has taken up in his best interest, he should stay and face the danger, even death. He's really all about like standing up straight, being a man. Don't be held up, stand up. If you have a position and you went there and you got to that position with your best judgment, then stand on your square, stand up straight, stand in what you believe in, even if there's danger in that. Everywhere and at all times, it is up to you to honor God with your contentment for your current circumstances in life, and to treat men in your current company with justice. Do not look around at the directing minds of others. Keep looking ahead to where nature is leading you, whether the universal nature of what happens to you and your own nature about what you must do yourself. Every creature must do what follows from its own constitution. Everybody has their own path that they need to be on. Don't look around to see what other people are doing. The only thing that matters is where you're going in life and what you can do to better yourself, and making sure that you're on your path and doing what you need to do and what nature is leading you to do in life. Because again, everybody is here to do something different. Rational beings are here to serve each other. And when he means rational beings, he means human beings. We are the rational ones, not the regular animals. We are the rational ones. And he believes that we are here to serve each other, whether that's just volunteering or helping out or aiding each other. Again, if you just want to help poor people, if you want to go work at a homeless shelter, if you want to make $1 million or more, you need to help more people. Like, that's how you make a lot of money. Everything is helping each other. Everything is helping or serving your fellow man, no matter what you want to do. Again, if you want to build a business, you need to solve more problems or solve bigger problems. Again, serving more people. Rational beings are here to serve others. Imagine you are now dead or have not yet lived this moment. Now think of life from here on out as a bonus and live as nature directs. Dig inside yourself. Inside yourself is a spring of goodness ready to gush out if you keep digging. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, in that it stands ready for what comes and is not thrown for the unseen. No soul likes to be robbed of the truth, and the same holds true for justice, moderation, and kindness. Keep this constantly in your mind. This will make you gentle to all. Now, when I read this, that first line really hit. No soul likes to be robbed of the truth. And again, if you look at the climate outside today, nobody believes nothing today. They don't believe politicians. They don't believe the news. They don't believe media. They don't believe the food industry, the pharmacy industry. And it's because, again, we've all been lied to for so long that, again, our souls are rejecting it now. Like, we don't like to be lied to. No soul does. And we see the breakdown of society when you lie to people and souls at large over a long period of time. Always remember this: a happy life depends on very little. Just because you have given up hope of becoming a philosopher or a scientist does not mean you should despair a free spirit. It is wholly possible of becoming a divine man without any recognition. Again, when I read that, all this stuff is all the same. Thousands of years, all these quotes and passages, they all apply today. Like, so many people are so caught up today on status and recognition, and especially now on social media. Look at me, look at me. And like he said, you can live a happy, simple life and still be divine. You don't need to be some crazy scientist or some big influencer or whatever. You can still live a happy, simple life. The perfection of character is this: to live every day as though it was your last. The nature of the whole sets itself to create the universe. So everything that springs up from that must be of logical consequence, or else even the primary aims of the directing mind of the universe, which sets its own impulse, is irrational. Reminding yourself of this will help you face much with greater tranquility. That was a pretty long passage. And when I read that, again, it all goes back to the whole, and he believes that everything was put here and is set in motion on purpose. And so there's no real need to worry. Either that or the whole universe is irrational, which there's just too much in nature. There's too much in life that proves otherwise. Like the way the sun hits the trees or plants and they grow, the way the animals are doing what they need to do. There's just so much in nature and in life that goes to show you that this stuff isn't random. This life, this world, this universe, the whole that we live in, it's not random. Again, when you know this, it makes you believe that, things happen for a reason. Everything is going and is as it should be. And so that puts a sort of tranquility on you and an ease in your life, or it should, that, everything is as it should be. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for book 7. Again, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.